Every mythology promises its gods are eternal, every one except this one. The Norse gods knew with total certainty that they were going to die. Not fade, not retire, die violently on a day that had a name, Ragnarok. A seeress had told them exactly how the world would end, who would fall, and in what order, and they chose to fight anyway. This single fact makes Norse mythology unlike anything else humans have ever imagined. There is no promise of victory here. No all-powerful father who cannot lose. There is only a doomed family of gods, standing against the end of everything, knowing they cannot win. And at the center of it stands Odin, not the wise, serene grandfather we picture, but a desperate, one-eyed schemer who spent every waking moment trying to cheat a fate he had already been told was unavoidable. This is the complete story of the Norse gods, how their world was born from a murdered giant, how they ruled knowing the clock was ticking, and how it all burned down exactly as prophesied. By the end, you'll see why a mythology about losing became one of the most powerful stories ever told. In the beginning, there was no earth, no sky, only a yawning void called Ginnungagap, with a world of fire to the south and a world of ice to the north. Where the fire's heat met the ice, the melting drops formed the first living thing, a colossal frost giant named Ymir. From Ymir's sweating body, the first giants were born, and a great cosmic cow licked the ice free to reveal the first god. His grandsons were 3 brothers, and the eldest was Odin. Here is where the Norse story turns dark and strange. The 3 young gods rose up and killed Ymir, the first giant, their own ancestor. And from his corpse they built the entire world. His flesh became the earth, his blood became the seas and lakes, his bones became the mountains, his teeth the rocks, his skull the dome of the sky, held up at 4 corners. His brains were flung into the air to become the clouds. Think about what that means. The Norse believed the whole world, the ground you stand on, the sea, the sky, was the butchered body of a murdered giant. Creation itself was an act of violence, and the giants would never forget who killed their forefather. Norse did not picture a heaven above and a hell below, they pictured a tree. Yggdrasil, an immense ash tree so vast its branches held up the sky and its roots reached into the deep. Hanging within its branches were 9 worlds, all connected, all alive. Asgard, the shining fortress realm of the gods. Midgard, the world of humans, ringed by a great ocean. Jotunheim, the wild land of the giants. Helheim, the cold realm of the dead, and more threaded through the tree like fruit. At the roots gnawed a dragon, in the branches quarreled an eagle and a squirrel carrying insults between them. Deer chewed the leaves. The tree was always being eaten, always suffering, always enduring, a living thing under constant attack, holding the whole of existence together by sheer will. It is the perfect image for the entire Norse worldview. Everything is connected, everything is under threat, and survival is not permanent but a constant, exhausting act of defiance. Even the structure of their universe was dying slowly, and the gods lived in its highest branches, closest to the light, and furthest to fall. Now meet the king of these gods and forget everything the movies told you. Odin was not a kindly, white-bearded grandfather. He was terrifying. He was the god of war, death, poetry, and above all, forbidden knowledge, and he was willing to pay any price to get it. He gave up one of his own eyes, dropping it into a magic well, just for a single drink that would grant him wisdom. That wasn't enough. To learn the secret of the runes, the magic written into the fabric of reality, he hanged himself from the world tree, pierced with his own spear, for 9 days and 9 nights, a sacrifice of himself to himself, refusing food and water until the knowledge came. He kept 2 ravens, Thought and Memory, who flew across all 9 worlds each day and whispered everything they saw into his ears. He had a throne from which he could see the entire universe. And he used it all for one purpose: to find any way, any loophole, to escape the doom he knew was coming. This is not a god at peace. This is a god consumed by dread, sacrificing his own body and eye in a frantic search for a way out that does not exist. Around Odin gathered the gods of Asgard, and again they are stranger and older than the versions you know. Thor, his son, was no clean-cut hero, but a red-bearded force of nature, the protector of gods and humans, who rode a chariot pulled by goats and swung a hammer that returned to his hand and could level mountains. Frigg, Odin's wife, could see the whole future but spoke of it to no one. Tyr, the bravest, was the god of war and law. Heimdall, the watchman, could hear grass grow and stood guard at the rainbow bridge that was the only way into Asgard, waiting to sound the horn that would announce the end. Balder, Odin's most beloved son, was so radiant and good that light itself seemed to pour from him. They feasted, they fought, they loved, they schemed. But over every feast in that golden hall hung the same shadow. They all knew what was coming. The seeress had spoken. And so their joy always carried an edge of desperation, the fierce, doomed happiness of people savoring a warmth they know will not last. And then there is Loki, the most misunderstood figure in all of Norse myth. He was not simply the god of evil. He was a giant by blood who became Odin's blood brother, living among the gods as one of them. He was charming, brilliant, and endlessly clever. And again it was Loki's tricks that saved the gods from disaster. When they needed the wall of Asgard built, when Thor's hammer was stolen, when they needed treasures forged, it was Loki's cunning that pulled them through. He was the catalyst, the spark, the one who made the story move. But Loki was also chaos itself, and chaos cannot be trusted forever. He fathered monsters, a giant wolf, a world serpent, and the queen of the dead. Slowly his tricks turned crueler, his loyalty thinner. He was a being who belonged fully to neither side, not truly God, not truly giant, and that in-between nature made him both the gods' greatest helper and the instrument of their destruction. The Norse understood something profound in Loki, that the same restless, disruptive force that drives all change is the very thing that, unchecked, brings the whole house down. At the heart of the whole mythology sits a single, chilling scene. Odin, desperate as always for knowledge, goes to a seeress, a Volva, and forces her to tell him the future. And she does. In cold, precise detail, she lays out the end of the world, Ragnarok. She tells him there will come a terrible winter, 3 years long with no summer between, when the sun gives no warmth. She tells him brothers will kill brothers and all bonds of family and law will break. She tells him the wolf will finally break its chains, the world serpent will rise from the sea, the dead will sail to war in a ship made of dead men's nails, and the fire giants will burn the rainbow bridge behind them. She names who will die and who will kill them, including Odin himself. And here is the unbearable part. Knowing all of this in exact order changes nothing. The prophecy cannot be stopped. Odin has spent his entire existence gathering wisdom. And the ultimate reward for all that wisdom is simply this: to know precisely how and when he and everyone he loves will die. Knowledge in the Norse world does not save you. It only lets you see the blade coming. So what does a god do when he knows exactly how the world ends and cannot prevent it? He prepares anyway. Odin builds Valhalla, a vast hall in Asgard, and begins gathering an army of the dead. Every time a warrior dies bravely in battle on Midgard, the Valkyries, Odin's shield maidens, carry half of the fallen up to Valhalla. There these dead heroes feast and fight and heal and feast again, every single day, training endlessly. But they are not being gathered for glory. They are being gathered as soldiers for one specific battle, Ragnarok. Odin is quietly assembling the largest army he can, of the greatest warriors who ever lived, for the final fight, even though the same prophecy that told him about that fight also told him he is going to lose it and die devoured by the wolf. Sit with the strangeness of that. The all-knowing God spends centuries building an army for a battle he has been promised he will not survive. It is not hope. It is defiance. If the end cannot be avoided, then it will at least be met head-on, with a sword in hand and the mightiest army the 9 worlds have ever seen. The end did not begin with a battle. It began with the death of the kindest god. Balder, Odin's radiant son, started having dreams of his own death. His mother Frigg, terrified, went across the entire world and made every single thing, every plant, animal, stone and metal, swear an oath never to harm her son. Everything, that is, except one. A small, harmless plant called mistletoe, which she thought too young and weak to bother with. The gods, delighted that Balder was now invulnerable, made a game of throwing weapons at him and watching them bounce harmlessly away. And Loki saw the flaw. He fashioned a dart from the one thing that had not sworn the oath, mistletoe, and guided it into the hand of Balder's own blind brother, who threw it in innocent fun. It pierced Balder, and the shining god fell dead. The light went out of the world. The gods had lost the best of them. Murdered by the trickster who had once been their greatest friend, they chained Loki to a rock beneath a venom-dripping serpent as punishment, and in doing so, they set the final countdown running. Ragnarok was now inevitable. And then it came exactly as foretold. The great winter fell, 3 years without a summer. The chains broke. Loki escaped and led the giants and the dead against the gods. The monstrous wolf, grown vast, broke free at last. The world serpent rose from the sea, flooding the land, spraying venom across the sky. The fire giants marched from the south, and the rainbow bridge shattered beneath them. Heimdall raised his horn and blew the note that every god had dreaded for all of time. And the gods rode out to meet their end. Odin charged the wolf and was swallowed whole, devoured just as the prophecy promised. Thor faced the world serpent, his oldest enemy. He crushed its skull with his hammer, and then, poisoned by its venom, staggered 9 steps and fell dead beside it. Tyr and the Hound killed each other. Loki and Heimdall killed each other. One by one, the gods and their monsters destroyed one another. And the fire giant flung burning ruin across the 9 worlds until everything, Asgard, Midgard, the world tree, all of it, was swallowed by fire and sank beneath the sea. The gods were gone. The world was over. The prophecy was complete. But the Norse did not end their story in ashes. After the fire, after everything had burned and sunk beneath the waves, the seeress's vision continued, and she saw the earth rise a second time out of the sea. Green, fresh, waterfalls falling, and eagle hunting fish, fields growing, crops that were never sown. A handful of survivors emerge, 2 humans who had sheltered inside the world tree itself and lived, ready to father a whole new race of people. And a few of the younger gods survive too. Balder the beloved returns from the dead, and the sons of Thor inherit their father's hammer. They gather on the green grass where Asgard once stood and speak in wonder of everything that was lost. It is not a happy ending exactly, but it is something rarer and deeper, the promise that even total, prophesied, unavoidable destruction is not the final word. The world dies, and then it is reborn cleaner, with the old dooms burned away. The Norse looked their apocalypse dead in the eye, and still found, on the far side of the fire, one green shoot of hope. So let's return to the thing that makes this mythology unlike any other. Every other pantheon promises its gods will win. The Greeks, the Egyptians, the rest, their gods are eternal, untouchable, safe. Only the Norse imagined gods who were told in advance and in detail that they would lose everything, and who picked up their weapons and rode out to fight anyway. Odin, for all his sacrifices, his eye, his 9 knights on the tree, his army of the dead, could not buy his way out of fate. All his wisdom bought him was a clear view of his own ending, and yet none of them ran. That is the strange, dark power at the heart of Norse mythology. It is not a story about winning. It is a story about how you face a fight you already know you're going to lose, with courage, with loyalty, with a sword in your hand and your doomed family beside you. The Norse gods were not great because they were invincible. They were great precisely because they weren't, and they stood their ground regardless. Maybe that's why, 1,000 years later, their doomed, defiant story still grips us harder than any tale of gods who could never fall.